what is DS and how does the format of the question look, how the option choices are, okay, and whatever that you know, and how do you go about with the fundamental approach working DS question. Yes, go ahead.
The fundamental approach that we follow is definitely that ADPCE approach in DS. And there are there is a prompt and there are two choices, like first and second. And according to that, we just have to prove whether the data is sufficient in order, like for that prompt, like if it is sufficient to answer the question.
You see a stem followed by two pieces of information or two statements, right? Prompt means you meant to say the stem, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And these are followed by facts. If not, we call them statements. And now these, always case that these questions have a standard option choices. And Mustafa will help us learn what these choices stand for. Yes, Mustafa, go ahead.
So I think for A, the first statement.
Look onto the screen here, onto the board, and tell me.
Yeah. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. I'm a little bit louder.
Yeah.
1 second. Let me increase my volume. Yeah, it's already on. Yeah.
So for option A, the first statement should satisfy when the second statement does not satisfy.
No, that's not how the option choices would be. Give me a proper wording. What you find in the option choice? Statement 1.
Statement 1 is sufficient.
Statement 1 alone.
Alone.
It's very important when you're working with a DS question. On a DS question, treating the statements alone is very important. Okay. So statement 1 alone sufficient and statement 2
is not needed.
Sufficient. Yes. And B.
B, statement 2 alone is sufficient and statement 1 is not needed.
Again, you're missing it. Statement 1 alone not sufficient. Statement 2 alone sufficient. Next.
Both together are sufficient.
Each of the statements alone not sufficient, but together sufficient.
Yeah.
That is C. And next D. Anybody else?
Both alone sufficient.
Yeah, individually.
Yeah, each of the statement alone sufficient. Very good. And E.
Both together also not sufficient.
And that's not how it is. Each of the statement alone not sufficient. See, I tell you, there is you got to really understand the option choices the way it's given, because treating the statements alone is very important when you're working a DS question. And that's where generally people miss and they make a fundamental mistake and go wrong on the question. Okay, irrespective of whether the question is harder or easy, because of the fundamental mistake, people go wrong, and we can't tend to do that. Okay, so to avoid that mistake, always remember the choices the way it's given. Each of the statement alone not sufficient and together as well not sufficient. Okay, so when you're going with E, you have already reached a point where you have seen that each of the statements were not sufficient, and even when you clubbed them together as well, they were not sufficient. Follow now? Clear? So now, and from the further classes, next classes, I warn you people, if I ask you what this choice stand for, remember, you should be answering the way the option choices would be. Okay, clear now? Next. So again, I repeat the option choices. Option A will be the answer when statement 1 alone sufficient and statement 2 alone not sufficient. B would be the answer when statement 1 alone not sufficient and statement 2 alone sufficient. C would be the answer when each of these statements alone not sufficient but together sufficient. Clear? And D would be the answer when each of these statements alone sufficient. E is the answer when each of these statements alone not sufficient, neither together sufficient. Clear? So, and you can always make your job easy this way. C stands for combination. Okay? C stands for combination. And when do you really combine these two choices? Two statements. When do you go for combination? When do you go for combination?
When it's not sufficient alone, it's not sufficient.
When they are alone
both
sufficient,
cases.
then there is no need of combining two things, right or not? So combination, you go with combination only when you reach a point where you see each of the statements alone, they are not helping you. And you are left with no choice now. You club them and see whether they can together help you or not. Okay. So C stands for combination. But don't club it unless you see each of the statements are alone not sufficient. You people don't understand now the importance of remembering the choices the way they are. But I tell you, once you start practicing, you realize that not because you working the option choices the way they are given, you're making a fundamental mistake. You're going wrong on certain questions, So I don't want you people to realize at that point of time, from day one itself, remember it this way so that you won't make a mistake. Clear? Next. And D stands for
Both.
D stands for individual. Individually, they are sufficient. Individually sufficient, D. C stands for combination. And you are always worried about A, B, C, D. E is never an option to be worried because option choice, statements come nahi kar raha, so that's when you go with E, right? Until then, you're not worried about E at all. So we always struggle to decide an answer between A, B, C, D. And A and B are also easy because when it comes in an alphabetical order, A comes in the first place. So therefore, first alone statement sufficient, you go with A, and 2 alone must not be. And B comes in second in order, so which means statement 2 is sufficient and 1 alone not sufficient. To make your job easy to remember the choice I'm telling you. C stands for combination, D stands for individual, and E never to be worried option because nothing working, then you go with E. Clear? Am I clear up? When it comes to option choices. Now, there are types of DS questions. Okay, but hope you people remember that AD/BCE approach, the fundamental approach. You all remember?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Please participate. Yaar, kon mute pe rakhe. Sabhi ko. Are you all on mute?
No, sir.
Unmute and please respond to questions. Okay. Yes. So I hope that all of you remember AD/BCE. I don't have to again take you through, right? Agree?
Yes, sir.
Anybody need it?
No, sir.
Okay, good. So I'm assuming that you all know, remember AD/BCE, why we split the choices, and let me make it short. Obviously, after you read the question stem, you understand what the question is asking for. You don't jump into statement 2. Rather, you work with statement 1 and you treat it alone. If 1 is alone sufficient, either it has to be A, if not, it has to be D. So it can't be BCE. Therefore, you're splitting choices into 2. AD to one side, BCE to another side. Agar statement 1 alone sufficient, you relate with AD because that comes in the first place. Okay. And statement 1 not sufficient, you strike off AD, which is in the first place. Okay. And then you go with the order. BCE bolo to B ke baad C aayega, C ke baad E aayega. Okay. When you're working this side, AD, you give importance to D. First, you decide whether D can be the answer or not. Clear? Am I clear? Followed now? Next.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now I want you people to figure out what's the difference between these two question types. Find X is X step. Statement kuch to bhi dega, 1/5 of X equal to 2 and second one 10% of X equal to 1, something like this. Same statements. Let's take the same statements here as well. Do you see some difference, fundamental difference in the question? And if so, then what it is?
So first question is basically asking if you can find the value of X. Second question is asking in the terms of yes and no.
Very good, Lahote. Absolutely great. I'm so happy. Over here, is it not precisely asking me to work a value to X? Value chahiye, right? So all that what you need to answer his question is about the value. So this is called a value-based data sufficiency. Okay. And second wala mein is not giving you value. Is not giving you value. People take it wrongly. X is given as 10. Baba, kahan pe diya hai X as 10? In fact, he's questioning you. He's questioning you whether X 10. You see that? Most of the people make a mistake here, assuming that X is given 10. Kahan pe diya hai? It's not given X as 10. He's questioning you, in fact, whether X is 10. So normally such questions, you should end up with what answers?
Yes or no?
Yes or no? Absolutely. So इस question का answer कभी भी yes and no में होगा. So therefore, this is called S-no data sufficiency. The reason why it is named S-no is because the way you are answering to his question is in terms of yes or no. Therefore, it's named S-no DS. And when you are answering in terms of a value, it's a value-based DS. Clear? Am I clear? Any doubts up till here? And
No, sir.
basic fundamental approach, AD/BC, all that remains same. There's no difference at all between these two questions. Clear now? Now, I mean, hope you people remember this, how to go about working. Let's anyhow work it together. And I'm not going to help you on this question. In fact, you're going to help me. How shall we go about working this? Fully.
So first option we'll take, so x is 10 there. So we find the value of x. So it's a,
I didn't hear you properly.
I'm saying we'll take the first option.
Very good.
AD slash
Statement 1.
x is 10.
Very good. So you get x as 10.
Yes, sir. We found the value, so remove BC.
Okay. Now that we have a value to his question, value जो देख रहे हैं हम, वो मिल गया वहाँ पे, so we consider it sufficient, right? So sufficient,
Yes, sir.
therefore BC gone. Very good. Shabash. Next.
So D is also
So same. So second option is also x is 10.
When you move on to statement 2, you can consider the statement 2 alone, and even when you consider it alone, the statement 2 information is sufficient enough, deriving a value to x, and now here it is 10, right?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, you have an answer, so you directly choose D. And because you decide whether D an answer or not, and uske baad you go with the leftover. So D is, however, turning out to be the answer. Now let's see how to go about with this. Yeah. So it's a yes to DS question. So how do you go about working this? What will you do? First step?
X is 10, so yes.
First step. Never forget to write AD/BC. Okay. And uske baad?
We take the first one. We find that the value of x is 10. So that's it. So yes.
No, that's the mistake. I'll tell you what should be doing. Pehle, you got to be defining yes or no. Now it looks to be weird. अरे भाई ये क्या बोल रहा है? Yes and no हमें पता है. Normally the question is asking you whether x is 10. कब होगा yes? Yes. When will the answer be yes?
When x is 10.
When x is 10. When will the answer be no?
No, x is not 10.
When is x not 10? How big deal? Is it not? Are we not really wasting a time there defining yes and no? Is what you people feel at this point of time and on this particular question. But I tell you, it's damn important when it comes to yes no questions. Okay, I don't want you people to realize after you start making mistakes and understand the importance of it. I'm telling you, it's important. Okay, note it and go by it. Okay, and here, this being a simple question, you don't find it, relevant. But I tell you, it's more important. Okay? So define x as, you say yes is an answer when x is 10 and no is an answer when x is not 10. But quickly, can you tell me, when do you consider statement sufficient and insufficient? Normally, when do you consider statement sufficient and insufficient?
When the data given in that statement is enough to arrive at a unique answer.
Definite answer. Absolutely right. Unique or definite. So what is important is definite answer. Right or not? So when you have a definite answer, then you consider it sufficient. As long as it is indefinite answer, it is insufficient. If not, no answer, still it is insufficient. Are you getting it? Did you get the difference between the two? So indefinite matlab more than one answer. May that be a value-based question or a yes/no question. कुछ भी होने दो, दोनों में से कौन सा भी question होने दो. Multiple answer आ रहे हैं तो insufficient. Unique answer, definite answer आ रहे हैं तो sufficient. Got it ना? So now, what does it mean? यहाँ पे ये हमें value-based questions में कोई कुछ दिक्कत ही नहीं है. अगर yes/no question नहीं आएगा problem. Normally people get carried away. Carried away with what? Assuming that yes का मतलब sufficient, no का मतलब insufficient. I'm talking about the mistakes generally people tend to do. They get just carried away. And यहाँ पे yes का मतलब sufficient नहीं होता है, no का मतलब insufficient नहीं होता है. Yes and no are just the answers. Please understand. Yes and no are just the answers. Okay, as long as you have a definite answer, you consider it sufficient. तो definite का मतलब यहाँ पे एक ही आंसर होनी चाहिए, या नहीं तो yes, नहीं तो no, एक ही आंसर, मतलब definite yes होनी चाहिए, नहीं तो definite no होनी चाहिए. इन दोनों में से एक ही आंसर होनी चाहिए. Are you getting it? But when you get a multiple answer, multiple यहाँ पे वो क्या हो सकता है? Multiple का मतलब yes and no, but इतना indefinite, दोनों आंसर्स आ रहा है. Okay, normally to these questions, you have only two answers, either yes or a no. So when you have both the answers, yes and no from the statement, then it is to be considered insufficient. Followed na? Any doubt up till here? Clear? Take a quick note of it. And now let's work it together. Mustafa, help me on this question.
Yes, sir. I think the first one, yes, x satisfies the value.
Take me through these steps. I take me through these steps. When you work, what do you work, how do you write, and how do you conclude? All that.
So the first statement says 1 by 5 of x is equal to 2. X equals to 10 satisfies the first.
No.
X equal to 10.
Sorry.
X equal to 10. Yes.
X is 10. Yes.
No, I didn't get that. What I mean, satisfying the matlab, what do you mean satisfying?
That means x is equal to 10 in the first statement.
No. Again, you're making a mistake. वो जो दिया है पूछ रहा है वहां पे is x10 बोल के, okay?
Yeah.
उस क्वेश्चन का हमारा आंसर क्या होगा? Yes बोल के. You getting it? It's not satisfying there. Okay. Don't take it wrongly. It's not satisfying there. We are now in a position to answer his question. हाँ, क्या बोल के? Yes.
Yes.
Got it, na?
Yeah.
But does this determine whether it's a definite answer or not?
No, it doesn't determine.
It does not yet.
Not yet.
We got to still decide whether it's a definite yes or no. Now, what do? You try to disprove. Is there a way where we get x not 10 from the same statement? Do you see any chances of x being not 10 from the same statement?
No. Sir.
No, sir.
So now you come to conclusion, now that there is no possibility of x not being 10, so abhi apna answer hoga yes, and not just yes, but a definite yes. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Clear, na? So now that we coming up with this answer and a single answer, we consider it sufficient. Now, did you figure out the difference between the two approach question types? यहाँ पे जब value मिल गया, we were happy with it. वैल्यू डेफिनेट है कि नहीं चेक कर लिए, बस आसान था. मगर यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा वेरिएशन है. जो भी आंसर आएगा यस हो या नो हो इन द फर्स्ट इंस्टेंस, डोंट कंसीडर इट टू बी ए डेफिनेट आंसर. देखना होगा इसका कॉन्ट्रडिक्टरी आंसर है कि नहीं. यहाँ पे यस आया है, इसीलिए वी वर लुकिंग आउट वेदर देयर इज अ नो आउट ऑफ इट. नो ही नहीं पॉसिबिलिटी, सो इज द रीजन वी कंसीडरिंग इट टू बी डेफिनेट. Got it, na? Clear?
Yeah.
Likewise, help me with the statement too. Okay, ये तो कट गया, easy कट गया. Next.
10% of x is equal to 1.
हाँ.
X is equal to 10.
Very good.
It's yes
Now
again.
with this, what is your position answering his question?
Yes, x is equal to 10.
तुम्हारा आंसर होगा yes. Followed ना?
Yeah.
Now don't be happy with that. Whatever may be the answer, yes or no, don't be happy with that. You will also have to
Try to
look.
disprove.
Is there a negative answer out of it?
Yeah.
But ना negative है क्या? Yes आया है, उसका negative no होगा. ये no है क्या?
No नहीं है sir.
पक्की बात है ना?
Okay.
No नहीं है. इसका मतलब the answer that you have is a definite answer. मतलब sufficient. So is the reason you go with
B.
B. Followed ना?
Yeah.
So I tell you that, I mean, it looks to be simple because it's me working out and taking you through the question. You find it easy, but I tell you, there are at times questions which can trick you just based on that. Just based on that. You getting it? So you got to be very careful, and especially when it comes to variables. Clear? So take a note of it quickly, and if you have any doubts, please ask me.
So the difference is like second yes no approach में we have to disprove as well. We have to disprove each option also.
जो आंसर आएगा, okay, no problem. Yes हो या no हो. But उसका negation उसी में से आएगा कि नहीं check करना होगा. Normally people don't do that. They become very happy with the answer that they come up with. And उसको sufficient मान लाएगा. I told you ना, this is what the mistake they do. Yes का मतलब sufficient, no का मतलब insufficient is what the conclusion they are away. That's a mistake. Okay.
So
Basically, look for X, look for yes or a no option. Whatever the option that you get out of that option, go for the other one.
Negation.
Okay.
Negation.
Yeah.
Negation.
So in the yes and no DS question, if in the second option it was 20% of x is equal to 1, that means x would have been 20. That is like x is equal to 10, definitely a no. So still the answer would have been D only.
हाँ, I mean, no
Sufficient है ना?
आया है उसने, उसमें से negation आंसर आ सकता है क्या? No बोल के आंसर आया है.
Okay.
Negation आंसर क्या होगा? Yes होगा. उसी स्टेटमेंट में से yes आने का चांसेस है क्या?
No.
नहीं है. तब जाके जो आंसर मिला है no became a definite answer.
Definite no.
Getting what is important to us is a definite answer. Doesn't matter to us whether it's a yes or a no.
No.
What
Yes.
matters to us is a definite answer. May that be a value or may that be a yes no. Are you getting it? Just stick
Yes.
to that.
So
Yeah.
in the first type of questionnaire where we are finding the value, in statement 1 we get one value, in statement 2 we get another value, but we are getting one value.
Yes, this
itself.
is a usual question, but still, I tell you, as long as you get a definite value, which stands to be a definite answer to this question from a statement, you always consider it sufficient. However, though, if it's an official GMAT question, you never get to see the statements yielding two different values. Okay, he takes the utmost care ensuring the statements gives you a same common value, but still, even when you are on the real-time test and by any chance you come across a question wherein two different statements yielding a different values, but as long as they are definite values, you can go ahead considering it sufficient. Okay, clear?
Okay.